Before Olympus, before Zeus, and long before mortals walked the earth, there was only chaos. Not a being, but a void, an endless nothingness that gave rise to everything. From chaos came Gaia, the earth. Then came Uranus, the sky. And when the two met, something terrifying happened. They created the Titans, massive, immortal beings with godlike power. But instead of celebration, Uranus saw them as threats. He feared their strength, so he locked them away deep inside Gaia's body. Yes, imprisoned by their own father, buried alive inside their own mother. Gaia had had enough. In secret, she crafted a jagged sickle, not for farming, but for vengeance. She gave it to her son, Cronus, who waited for the right moment. And when Uranus came close, Cronus struck. He sliced off his father's manhood and hurled it into the sea. From the blood and foam, something strange began to form. A woman, breathtaking, radiant, and dangerous. The goddess of beauty and desire, Aphrodite. Born from violence, destined to tempt gods and destroy kings. But Cronus didn't care. He had won. Or so he thought. Because what he didn't realize was that he'd just repeated the cycle. And soon, it would come for him too. Cronus, cannibalism, and the prophecy. Cronus ruled over a new age, the era of the Titans. But power made him paranoid. A prophecy warned that one of his own children would overthrow him, just like he had done to his father. So Cronus turned to a disturbing solution. Every time his wife Rhea gave birth, he swallowed the child whole. One by one, the gods were consumed. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, all devoured before they could even cry out. But when Rhea gave birth to Zeus, she couldn't do it again. With help from Gaia, she hid the baby in a cave on Mount Ida, far from Cronus's reach. In his place, she wrapped a stone in cloth and fed it to her husband Cronus, fooled and satisfied, believed he was safe. But Zeus was growing, in secret, in silence, in strength. And when the time came, he would return to free his siblings and finish what his father started, the War of the Gods. Zeus grew up hearing the stories about his imprisoned siblings, about the father who ate them. When he was ready, he returned, not as a boy, but as a storm. With help from Metis, he tricked Cronus into vomiting up the gods he had swallowed. One by one they emerged, alive, angry, and ready for war. What followed was a brutal conflict that tore the heavens apart, the Titanomachy. For 12 years, the gods battled the Titans, shaking the very bones of the earth. But the turning point came when Zeus freed the Cyclopes and the 100-handed giants, monstrous allies Cronus had buried in Tartarus. In gratitude, the Cyclopes gave Zeus his thunderbolt, Poseidon his trident, and Hades a helmet of darkness. With those weapons, the tide turned. The Titans were crushed, defeated, and cast into the deepest pit of the underworld. Victory was complete, but uneasy. The gods had won, but they knew power had a price. To avoid tearing each other apart, the brothers made a pact. Zeus would rule the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the dead. It seemed like peace. But gods are not built for peace. Betrayals on Olympus. Zeus ruled the skies, but he couldn't rule his desires. Despite marrying his sister Hera, he had endless affairs with goddesses, nymphs, and mortal women. From these flings came powerful children: Athena, Hermes, Apollo, Artemis, and mortal heroes like Hercules and Perseus. Hera, humiliated again and again, didn't go after Zeus. She went after his lovers and their children. Io was turned into a cow. Leto was hunted across the earth while pregnant. And Hercules? Hera tried to end him as a baby by sending snakes to his crib. When that failed, she later drove him into madness, forcing him to kill his own family. The gods weren't a perfect family, they were a powder keg. Affairs, jealousy, vengeance. Olympus wasn't a divine paradise, it was a dysfunctional dynasty where even immortals weren't safe from betrayal, and for mortals who got caught in their games, the consequences could be deadly. Hades, the underworld, and the abduction of Persephone. Hades ruled what no one else wanted: the underworld. It wasn't just punishment and fire. Souls crossed the river Styx, paid the ferryman Charon, and faced judgment. Some went to paradise. Others wandered, the worst were cast into Tartarus. But Hades wanted more than shadows. He wanted Persephone, daughter of Demeter. One day, as she picked flowers, the ground cracked open. Hades snatched her into the underworld. Demeter's grief froze the earth. Crops died. Famine spread. Zeus intervened. But Persephone had eaten the food of the dead. She was bound to Hades. A deal was struck. She'd stay with Hades part of the year and return to her mother for the rest. That's why winter comes, when the earth mourns her absence, Athena's violent birth and Poseidon's feud. Zeus had a problem. He heard a prophecy that his child with Metis would overthrow him, just like he'd done to Cronus. So he swallowed Metis whole while she was pregnant, thinking that would stop it. But it didn't. Later, Zeus was hit with a blinding headache. Hephaestus split his skull with an axe, and out sprang Athena, fully grown, armored, and shouting a war cry. Born from wisdom and war, Athena became Zeus's favorite, helping heroes like Perseus and Odysseus win the impossible. But she wasn't just a warrior. She was clever, calculating, and ruthless when needed. Her rivalry with Poseidon came to a head when both wanted control of a growing city. Poseidon struck the ground, creating a salty spring. Athena offered something better, an olive tree. Useful, lasting. The gods chose her. The city took her name, Athens. Poseidon never forgot the insult. Even among gods, grudges never die. Ares, Aphrodite, and the scandal that shocked Olympus. Ares was the god of war, not strategy or honor, but bloodlust, chaos, and pain. Feared on the battlefield, but hated by gods and mortals alike. Yet despite his rage, Ares had one weakness: Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, desire, and seduction. She was married to Hephaestus, the crippled god of the forge, but her heart belonged to Ares. Their affair wasn't exactly subtle. When Hephaestus found out, he built a trap, a net so fine it was invisible. He placed it over their bed and waited. The moment Ares and Aphrodite were tangled together, the net dropped, locking them in place. Hephaestus called the gods to witness the humiliation. They laughed, but behind the laughter was tension, jealousy, and scandal. Even among immortals, loyalty was optional, and shame, eternal. Dionysus, madness, and divine mayhem. Dionysus wasn't like the other gods. He didn't rule from Olympus or wage wars. He brought something else, chaos through pleasure. Born from Zeus and a mortal woman, Dionysus was the god of wine, theater, ecstasy, and madness. Wherever he went, frenzy followed. His cult was wild. Women called maenads, men half-goat called satyrs, all dancing, drinking, and losing control. To outsiders, his rituals looked like madness. To his followers, they were divine. But Dionysus wasn't just about fun. He blurred the line between order and chaos, human and god. His power didn't come from strength, it came from surrender. And that terrified the Olympians more than any weapon. In a world built on control, Dionysus reminded them what it looked like to let go. The gods as reflections of us. The Greek gods weren't perfect, far from it. They lied, cheated, and turned on each other constantly. But that's why they lasted. They weren't symbols of perfection. They were reflections of us. Zeus was power unchecked. Hera, vengeance without mercy. Hades, love taken by force. Dionysus, chaos disguised as celebration. The Greeks didn't worship saints. They told stories about power, weakness, and everything in between. And those stories still hit today, because we haven't changed as much as we think. If you want more hidden history and mythologies that go beyond the textbook, subscribe now, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a chapter.